Well, welcome everyone. Today we have Jonathan Reddoch. He's
Hello.
here as one of the authors of our fabulous anthology for Second Chance.
And editor.
Yes, and editor. Yes, he's done lots of things. Jonathan Reddoch is co-owner of Collective Tales Publishing. He is a father, writer, editor, and publisher. He writes sci-fi, fantasy, romance, and especially horror. He has been working on his enormous sci-fi novel for over a decade and would like to finish it in this lifetime, if possible. Find him on Instagram, illusions _of _grandeur _. And illusions is with an A. So illusions. Yeah, cool. Why don't you kind of tell us about you, like that's outside of the bio, like what kind of writer are you?
So I really like writing short little tiny things because then I can actually finish, and get things accomplished. I'm working on a series of flash fiction dark tales that I want to compile into a little book. So maybe I'll finish that. And then, you mentioned I have a sci-fi novel that I've been working on forever, and it's really long already. And I don't know, I just have gaps to finish and then edits, and that part's boring. So I guess I just haven't been motivated to finish.
We'll finish it eventually.
Yeah. And, I spend a lot of time working with you, my business partner, on our little tiny indie publishing house, Collective Tales. We love publishing anthologies, and it's fun. It's one of the joys of life.
Yeah, and that is separate.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say, and other than that, I just I work. I have a day job that's fine, and I have my kids that I love, and that's kind of my whole life right there.
That's awesome. And Collective Tales Publishing, while it is separate from the romance writers chapter, it is we're also going to have like a little nonprofit anthology with that one, which is kind of fun. So you will be.
And we sponsored the conference, the writing conference.
Yeah. Cool. Well, why don't you tell us what inspired you to write your story for the Second Chance?
For the Second Chance, I wrote that story a long time ago, but I didn't finish it until this anthology came along, and I just dusted it off. And I remember you had commented, because you're like, well, it seems a little disjointed because the second half is like cynical. And then I'm like, well, that's because I wrote the first part when I was like before I was married and stuff. And so it was really like hopeful, and it came from a wholesome person who was very religious, I guess, but like me now, non-religious, almost anti-religious, I guess you could say, having written about this experience at a religious college. It does come across cynical. So like when I did the editing, I was like, I hate this story now, and you were like, oh no, I love it.
Oh, it's fun.
And so so like I try to keep true to its optimistic roots that was in the story. It's kind of a silly little sweet story that's like very wholesome. There's no gratuitous sex or violence. It's really short. It's like really tiny, but like I think it was just this idea of kind of this cute little interaction between these two little wholesome individuals. So
it's nice.
Yeah. And well, it's harder for me to appreciate that now, being a divorced, cynical person.
Well, it's great that you have a happy thing here, because people like happy things. Nothing's against like sad things if people want to read and write.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a reason I write a lot of horror, and maybe that's because I'm maybe pessimistic. I don't know, but
I like to say that you just like the scary things in life,
Yeah, I mean, I the reason I write horror is because that's what people like that I write, and they don't like anything else I write. So
so why don't you tell us what is in store for you coming up, story-wise? Like what other things are you personally going to publish and have out?
Oh, well, I'm an editor and with the League of Utah Writers Romance chapter, and another book that we want to put together is our second flash fiction book, which is based around, it's kind of a accompaniment to The Second Chance, and it's what was it called? It's like So We Meet Again.
So we meet again.
And so, yeah, flash fiction, little stories, and we have some cute ones. And we just want to get some more and then publish them maybe this year or next year, or whenever we get around to it. And I think that'll
Set
be
a date for everyone soon, but
yeah, maybe later this year I think would be good. And then you know, I have a story that's getting published this summer in a book whose name I'm forgetting right now, but it's Some Things and Some Things. But my story is called The Eye of Europa, and
oh yeah, you were telling me about that.
yeah, it's kind of a cosmic horror book. And man, what is it called? It's like Stones and Cobblestones. Or no, that's
We'll
not right.
find
It's
it and
like
we'll see it in the description.
yeah, it's gonna go below. It's this thing and other this thing. Man, it's so funny, I can't remember the title. But yeah, so look out for that. And then we are working on a book that's another flash fiction stories that we want to publish this year if we can get enough stories, which is Darkness 101 Lessons Were Learned. So these are just, they're going to be, we want to publish 101 flash fiction stories that are each 101 words that are just about the theme of like learning some kind of lesson. And it's dark stuff,
Yeah.
you know. A lot of my writing is along those lines. And then, you know, we're working on a fantasy. Well, I mean, we just had a fantasy book come out, but we're also working on Collective Chaos, and that's going to be dystopian. And then we're working on a sci-fi book that should hopefully come out. And then we're working on an
Now it's
LGBTQ
collective
plus themed,
visions. Yeah.
themed charity book that's coming out
And that's
next year. I don't know.
humanity.
Yeah, we better work on that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of it.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Yeah, I really like that. Do you have anything else that you want to add for readers out there that they should know?
Well, I mean, I think they should support indie authors, and I think the League does a great job of publishing great anthologies, and I think this is another one that I think is really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was actually on a different League project recently that's called Beyond Beehives.
Yeah.
You know, my story is about how racist school is, I guess, or history and all that. Anyway, so you should check that out. It's a book about the history of Utah. So it's controversial.
A little bit
Yeah.
different from this story that you have out.
Yeah, it's not a sweet romance. It's like the opposite.
But it's telling people, it's showing things. So I think that's good. But,
That's true.
okay, well, thank you, Jonathan. And thank you, everyone. Definitely check out his story in Second Chance.
Yay.